Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another breakdown. UFC 304 going down in Manchester, England this Saturday. We have a rematch between Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad. A rematch. Going to be, I don't know. The main card is nice. I like the main card. The prelims has some really nice spots in there too, but should be a good overall event for us in the U.S. I feel terrible for the people in England that have to wait, that have to suffer through. The main cards are starting at 3 a.m. in England, so Dana is doing them dirty. I feel so sorry for the overseas fans that have to wait for the 3 a.m. For this main card to kick off. They're going to be hammered.
So
these guys are gonna be drunk.
I'm really interested actually to see too, like how I want to see how the fighters, like how it's gonna affect the fighters over here. Because I mean, per usual, it's a UK like showcase. Whenever they go over there, obviously, like it's gonna be very heavy, like British fighters, Irish fighters, and all that. So they're like, they're home already. But like the Curtis Blades and the even Belal, like even though Belal said he's gonna have home field advantage, but like,
and that's the thing. Like anytime they go over to London or whatever, like the times stay regular for us, so they always have to adjust going over there and fighting later into the day and the nighttime, early in the morning. So
I mean, yeah. So it's main event's gonna be kicking off at like
5 maybe
5 in the morning.
So
that's wild.
To kind of move your camp around for this fight is going to be tricky.
Which is actually what I heard that Blades has been doing. I heard that Blades has been that they've instituted like they're going to try to get him midweek to London or to Manchester, sorry, and that they've been doing like the time difference, and they've been training on the time difference. They've been like getting the sleep schedule all set so that when they get over there, it's going to feel all natural to them, which that seems like such a, like, of course, like it seems so like such a simple, easy thing to do, like to get yourself set. Whereas, like Aspinall, I've heard Aspinall complain about the time. So that's weird. But I do, the fans, they're the ones that have it the worst. Like we're still gonna be doing the same routine. Like we still gonna be chilling. Nothing gonna change on a Saturday for us over here. But like, yeah, man, that's brutal for the UK fans to be hosting it too. Like,
absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if the stands are kind of empty until the main card starts.
You think so? Even with the they show out, man.
They do.
And the card is deep with their folks on there.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. I take that back.
That's I think it's more of with your point. I think they're gonna be hammered, bro. They're gonna be
drunk, just
like
all day drinking. Just
you got to think of it like this, almost like it's like so like we're in Vegas, right? It's almost like they're just gonna be like going out to the club. So it's like, all right, we're gonna sleep all day. We're gonna sacrifice our Sunday. Like Sunday's gonna be a wash, okay? We're just gonna sleep all day Sunday, but Saturday night,
everyone's turning back the clock to when they're 21 years old, 22 years old.
Everybody got to be young on Saturday night going into Sunday morning in the UK. That's crazy, man.
I did my just due in watching tape for this card due to the lack of picks that I've been getting right for the last 2 weeks. Just a terrible time getting these fights right the last 2 weeks. Especially last week's card was rough, and especially for betting as well is rough.
Was last week that wasn't the Usman? Was that Namajunas?
No, that was Lemos and Jantradoba was last week, and then the week before was UFC Denver with Namajunas.
That was
that was actually a good fight card. I enjoyed that fight card. But the card,
I was following that card via you on Twitter. Honestly,
the card last week, boy, the cards, the fight nights we have to go through to get to these pay-per-views. Oh my goodness,
they're making us work for it, man.
But you know what? Let's get started with breaking down the fights, starting from the first fight of the card, early prelims to the main event. They did shuffle these fights around again on us, so we have a new lineup going into Saturday. So to start off the fight or start off the night, we have Shauna Bannon versus Elise Ardelean. Mama B.
Mama B.
After losing her UFC debut to Bruna Brasil, she's back. Hopefully I'd see some type of growth in that loss, which I expect to see some growth. But Ardelean stepping into this fight on 2 weeks short notice. So I know she was getting ready to fight on the Dana White Contender Series new season next month, I think. So she wasn't completely just on the couch being a lazy bum, uploading her OnlyFans. So she was training. So, so from the tape that I've watched from Elise, she has some hands, man. She has some good boxing. She can get wild. She has great judo tosses from the hip. An all-around game. I don't know how she does when she is on the bottom for the grappling, which I think Bannon has some good top game when she can get things to the ground and she's kind of controlling, the grappling exchanges on the ground. But I saw that Ardelean actually fought Wei Li back in the day.
Yeah,
and put up kind of not a really good fight because Wei Li kind of used her wrestling to get things to the ground and just beat her ass on the ground with ground and pound. But the fighters are there, and Ardelean's coming into this on a winning streak. But the thing with Bannon is there's just no power. There's no power. She throws a lot of volume, but there's just nothing. I don't think that she doesn't have enough to scare Elise in this fight to
she's not going to put her away.
Nah, I just don't think so. Maybe Bruna, not Bruna, Shauna Bannon kind of out volumes her and then tries to find her way to get on her back and get this to the ground. But man, Elise looks strong. She looks strong. So I'm kind of going into this as a prove it to me fight for Shauna Bannon. I need to see the growth. I need to have her kind of show out for me to get back on the wagon here. So I'm actually going the UFC debut for at least Ardelean here to get the win.
The OnlyFans, my OnlyFans girl. At least, baby.
And I'm wondering what the lines are going to look like. I wonder what the lines are going to be like because the lines are not out for this fight yet. But
especially with the short notice and
but Ardelean has fought some tough girls in her come up.
There's got to be. You figure there's got to be value when the lines do come out on Ardelean if that's where you're leaning, because odds are always going to be in favor of the person who was already in camp. Exactly. So yeah, man. She's on the win streak. She's rolling in hot. I feel like she's peaking. She was getting ready to get into the Dana White Contender Series, and I think this is a good style matchup for her with Shauna Bannon, who doesn't have that power to threaten her on the feet. And I think she kind of just has her way on the feet, and she can hold her own on the ground. So I'm hoping Mama B can show out for me and let me see some growth, but I'm going to take the OnlyFans fighter here, and at least Ardelean getting her first win in the UFC debut by decision. And still we got no odds.
No odds.
6 hours ago, they still hadn't been updated.
Next fight here, we have Mick Parkin versus Lukasz Brzeski. Listen, man, Mick Parkin is another guy. I feel like Mick Parkin is kind of this guy who is the young blood, the new face, the young prospect in the heavyweight division, who is making his way. But I have not seen that yet in his performances. Yes, he's winning, but he's the way I'm expecting him to win. He is not putting the performance the performances together.
Decision.
And for you to kind of make Kamaru Usman's brother Muhammad Usman in that fight, I expected Mick Parkin to kind of outclass Usman, but Usman hung around and kind of made things interesting. I think he took a round from Parkin as well. I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it from Parkin. But I'm betting on. I'm not betting on, but I'm betting on Mick Parkin to show me the evolution in his game with this fight. I think this is a good stylistic matchup for him with Brzeski, who also likes to stand and trade. So I think Parkin can mix in the wrestling nicely here and win the exchanges on the feet. I think Mick Parkin is due for another decision win, but I think we see just an overall better performance.
It's going to let the hands go more. I mean, because that's been his game, hasn't it? He's going to stand and bang. He's a striker with you.
The striking is where he is comfortable at, but I need to see the wrestling, him mixing the wrestling a little bit more, especially with Brzeski, because Brzeski can, I think he can match the volume of Parkin in this fight. So I think it could get interesting if he doesn't mix in the wrestling Parkin does. It could get very sketchy with the cards and how the point fighting, stuff like that. So Parkin needs to mix in the wrestling here for him to kind of win over the judges and, yeah. So
but that home cooking on the judges' scorecards, though, man. We'll get to that later,
so
too.
I got Mick Parkin by decision here, and I'm just hoping to see the evolution. I'm hoping for a finish from Parkin as well, but I actually need to see a little bit more from Parkin because I know he has it in him. He's training with Tom Aspinall. I need to see it, man. So give me Mick Parkin. Next fight, we have Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosbie. I'm actually going to take Sam Patterson here. I think people are really liking the Crosbie side for the power, maybe. And
coming straight forward. Yeah.
Kind of gets loose with his hands and has some big power, especially with Sam Patterson. About 2 fights ago, he got knocked out cold by someone who was way shorter than him. But he was fighting at 155 in that fight, which is not his natural weight class. He's a 170, so that weight cut may have kind of, took away the chin.
Well, and he's gigantic too for 55. That's a huge 155 or 6'3".
Yeah. And Ashmu's kind of caught him with the overhand right, and that just slept Patterson at 155. So he's back at 170 for this fight. He is coming off a great win against what's the guy? Lanice, Lioness or whatever.
Lioness.
That was a great bounce back win, especially how he finished that fight with a submission, being patient, using that brown belt and BJJ to get that fight to the ground, get to his back, and not locked up the submission win for that fight. I think Crosbie is a bit too wild for me. I know people are really concerned about Patterson's chin, but I don't think Patterson's chin is gone yet. I think he does enough to, keep away, play the distance well in this fight, and he catches the wild striker, the wild brawler in Crosbie, and kind of just wraps him up and just works him to the ground. Something that does worry me is like Patterson because of how tall he is, he gets used to like leaning back,
that chin,
leaving the chin up.
Yeah.
He doesn't move his head or move the chin out of the center line. So that does kind of worry me, but I think I will take Patterson here to, time the takedowns, time up the grappling, tie up Crosbie, and work his way to a submission win again. So yeah, give me Sam Patterson by submission in this fight. Yeah. And next fight was criminal that the way that they reshuffled this card. We have Muhammad Mokaev and Manel Kopp on the early prelims. Criminal. Just criminal.
Especially when this is it feels like a flyweight title eliminator.
Absolutely.
Like on paper at least. And I mean, just even with getting spicy, with the trash talk, personal beef from back, I forget what fight card it was at, but apparently Manel Cop put hands on one of Mokaev's people at the Apex, I think it was. Like there's personal stuff going on here. The stylistically, it's gonna be quite an interesting matchup. Much like you've talked about with some of the early prelims, I have a very similar feeling with Manel Cop as far as like, bro, when is it gonna like come together? I remember when Manel Cop debuted in the UFC during it was during COVID.
It was, I think, yeah.
And it was like at the Apex, and they built this dude up. This Portuguese kickboxer, and they show his highlights, and it was crazy. And he comes in and he's dancing on the way in, like he's a showman, and it excited me. And it was like, all right, cool, let's get it then. And he hasn't done anything like this suggests that he's gonna live up to what he came into the UFC as. And whether that's fair or not to him is a different discussion. But like, yo, it's time. Like, this is your time, right? As crazy as it is to say about an early prelim fight, like this is one of the most important fights on the card.
I think so too. I love Cop's just I wouldn't say aura, but I love the vibe that he gives off. I love how he's an angry man, especially with him trash talking Izzy at that press conference, and then tell him to sit down. And then while he's talking to Kai Carl France in the crowd, I thought that was great stuff.
Another one we haven't got yet either.
Yeah, I think
Kai Kara and Manel Cop.
I think Cop pulled out of that fight actually.
Man.
And that's another thing. We don't know if this fight's going to go down because Manel Cop seems to pull out of a lot of fights. So I'm hoping this happens. I hope it stays on the card. But yeah, a great fight at men's flyweight. Mokaev is 11-0. Man is a dog. He's a wrestling. He loves to chain wrestle. But what the thing is with this is just how much that small window of chance that Manel Cop is going to have time to get off his striking. I know he has some good takedown defense, but with the chain wrestling that Mokaev brings to the table, I just don't know that the window gets smaller and smaller for him to win, to land that shot that's supposed to get Mokaev out of here. So I'm taking Muhammad Mokaev by decision here. Because I just cannot get behind Manel Cop, because sometimes he does show out against lower competition, which I don't think this is the case here. But
no, not at all. Not at all.
Mokaev, even though his striking is still a little bit green, I think he has enough tools to throw what he needs to, but also shoot for the takedowns. And
he'll use the striking to set up
things.
The takedown, yeah.
And if he doesn't get the initial takedown, he's still going to just chain wrestle the hell out of Manel Cop. Again, this fight might take place against the cage a lot, but that window of chance for Manel Cop to land that strike, I just don't think it's going to happen. It could get interesting in round 3 because Mokaev does seem to fade late in the fights. So Manel Cop may find a chance there, but again, that small window, I just can't get behind. So I'm taking Muhammad Mokaev to go 12-0 in the UFC, win by decision here.
So I think that, so it's obvious, right? Like Cop, the route to victory for him is on the feet.
On the feet,
clearly.
Stuff the takedowns.
Absolutely. Yeah. Scramble, do what you can on the feet. However, if that does not work, I agree 1,000% with you. He has a very small window on the takedowns to catch Mokaev, But in the event that doesn't work, I think that Cop needs to do everything he can from the bottom. Throw those hands up, throw elbows, strike from the bottom as much as you can, point as much as you can, because it's going to be obvious what the game plan is for Mokaev. It's going to be, I think this fight mirrors a fight later on in the card that we'll touch on when we get there, where there's a route to victory for one of the fighters. And both routes to victory seem very clear for each fighter involved. Mokaev has a clear way, just like it is for Cobb. I don't think Mokaev's going to come in there. I think he's going to come in there and try to get it straight to the ground and just lay on him again. Use the striking to set up. Dude don't want to sit. He's not, even his pride isn't going to let him stand up with Cobb. Like, that's dumb. He's a weirdo too, by the way. Let's get that out of the way. Mokaev's a weirdo. The conspiracy stuff, he thinks the UFC has a conspiracy against him and doesn't want him to get a title shot.
Interesting.
And they don't want him to be a champion. Like, bro, then go prove it.
Exactly.
Don't be proud. Go out there, maul him, leave the UFC. No doubt that when you get on the mic and start talking your goofy-ish, that you can call for a title shot and they'll be like, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. For Manel Cobb, to me, this kind of feels like his relevance, like his career almost. Not his career, but like just his career of being a relevant fighter. Because you don't win this, bro, then what?
Jeez.
He lays on you for, 11 or 15 minutes. And you show some flashes and then you go, oh, just lay on me. Like, yeah, that's the game, bro. Like, it can't all be. Not everybody's going to kickbox with you, bro. You did that already. Let me see, let me see evolution of your game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these strikers need to stop complaining about
y'all should
wrestlers.
Have the best wrestlers of your of 2 divisions up.
I know you guys want to train the striking, obviously, and the ground stuff, but you guys need to also put in twice as more training into getting up from the ground. We need to stop complaining about these wrestlers.
Just lay it on me.
You're getting taken down. Like,
it's mixed martial arts.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is that for I can't get if you are a Manel Cop, if you're a fraud like Israel Adesanya, if you're even Poetan, right? Like all these guys, the strikers, or even on the flip side, if you are a Brock Lesnar coming into the game, man, he needs to be working on his jiu-jitsu, he needs to be working on his striking. The Izzies, the Pereiras, the Cops of them, y'all are professional kickboxers. Y'all know how to strike.
Yeah,
why are we striking in camp? You know how to strike. You should have every wrestler under the sun in your weight class, in the weight class above you, in the weight class above that, coming and working you for the entire camp, so that the first time Mokaev shoots on you, it's either a stuff or it's a, oh, no, we worked on this. Bow, let me catch him coming in. Like, I don't think we're going to see that. I'm with you. I think Mokaev wins. I think Cop is going to cry. I think it might even get kind of messy towards the end, even.
Oh, a little bit of trash talking after the
Cop is a Cop is kind of like
after the round is done at the third round.
You know, like
now you want
I think he could get kind of goofy towards the end. But I'm with you, man. I think Mokaev wins. I think he keeps the O. I don't. Yeah. It's as simple as it is until I see it from Cop. Like I don't believe, man. Like I bought into the hype so early. Even after you went 0-2 to start off your UFC career, like, and granted, Pantoja was one of those. Like, I get it, but come on, man. Like, you got to show me.
But his wins in the UFC are just, again, lower tier. Yeah. David Dvorak. But you're supposed to be doing these. You're supposed to be doing that to those guys, you know. So, but there is a day where I'm coming to fade Mokaev. There is that matchup in the men's flyweight division where I will be picking against Mokaev. So don't worry, it's coming. I'm waiting for that day because I know it's gonna be a big plus number, and I can't wait to jump all over it. Next up, we have Oban Elliott versus Preston Parsons. So to get it out of the way, my pick is my first underdog pick of the card, Oban Elliott. Elliott has good ground game, nasty kicks, very active with the kicks. Has the speed advantage in the striking. I know Parsons has the wrestling on his side. I think they can match each other with the kicks. But I don't know, man. Something about Oban Elliott. I like the tools that he has to defend Parsons' best weapon here in the wrestling. I just think Elliott is a tricky matchup for Parsons. So I'm taking Oban Elliott, my first underdog pick here by decision. So, yeah. Moving into the prelims. So next up we have Modestas Bukauskas versus Marcin Prachino. This one is actually a little tough to call. I'm not the biggest Prachino fan. Bukauskas is the cleaner striker. He's more technical striker in this matchup. He likes to play, keep that distance between him and the fighter, and just shoot him with big strikes. I think he will have the more significant strikes in this matchup. I think he will land the better strikes that may wow the judges. But with Marcin Prachino, I think he puts out a lot more volume. His style of striking is very clunky. He's very, very clunky the way he strikes. But the way he enters the pocket is a bit wild. But he just has this volume and lands a good amount of strikes while he's in that state of just kind of throwing. And he likes to land his combos with kicks. So I think that could be a problem with Bukauskas, especially if this fight goes to the judges' scorecard. Because I think Prachino may be up with the significant strikes. But I maybe Bukauskas steals 2 rounds with just the more significant, more damaging shots.
As opposed to the volume, more of the damage. Because
what doesn't sit right with me, I know Prachino has a win over Khalil Roundtree, which is aging beautifully right now.
It really is. Talk up, man. He's having a glow up. What's that about?
To have Khalil Roundtree potentially on UFC, what was it, 300?
Yeah,
against Jamal Hill.
Yeah, that's insane.
On the main card, that says a lot. That's crazy. But what doesn't sit right with me with Marcin Prachino is he got slept by Sam Alvey. If you're getting knocked out by Sam Alvey, which I know anyone can land that shot on any given day, but damn, Sam Alvey, which was just a couple years ago, I don't know, man. I'm going with the bigger moments by Modestas Bukauskas. I think he can do enough, be the more effective striker in 2 rounds to steal a 29-28 decision here over Marcin Prachino. We have too many decisions. This is going to be a long card.
So they're going to make them. They're going to have to stay up so late,
bro.
They're going to be up so late, and that means that they're probably just going to be even more drunk by the time that the main card starts because they're just going to be drinking because they're bored. Another decision, great. Let's go get more beer.
Oh man! Next up, I love this fight. We have Caolan Loughran versus Jake Hadley. Jake Hadley is actually taking this fight on short notice as well. A week and a half notice, maybe. I hate this short notice fight for Jake Hadley.
It's being fought at 35 or 25? Do you know?
I think it's 35.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, my guy from Ireland right here though. This is the short, stocky 135er Brock Lesnar right here. Bro, my man is just thick neck.
He don't have a neck, bro.
Just a tank boy.
He don't have a neck. His profile picture's crazy.
This man just has.
He got shoulder pads on. Bro.
He just has wrestler written all over him from this picture. But I hate this style matchup for Jake Hadley taking him on short notice. Loughran is kind of that guy, I think, in the next wave of fighters coming out of Ireland. Along with the great wrestling and just being a physical specimen. He has great power in the hands, but he's also very clean and landing, his shots. So he's just not a wrestler. He has the stand up to back it up as well. So he's very accurate. I think Loughran is kind of clicking on all cylinders right now, and this is a very, very tough fight for Jake Hadley to take. I don't know what Jake Hadley is thinking. I know I know you're trying to step in and kind of show out and just think you can do this on short notice, but this is not the fight to do it against. I'll be surprised. I'll be shocked if Jake Hadley wins a round in this fight, to be honest with you. But
I did on that. I did hear Bisping say earlier that the reason why, if you're Hadley, because the same question was raised, like, why on earth would you take this fight on this short of notice? And Bisping just simply answered, he said, it's a chance to fight in front of your home fans. Like, that's it.
And
that's the only reason you take it, and you want that moment. And then obviously, because you're a fighter and everything, but on paper, it doesn't stack up. I mean,
And I don't think Jake Hadley has had the opportunity to fight in front of fans. I think he's fought in front of fans once and just kind of in the apex. So I think it kind of gives him that thrill to just get in front of his own crowd. But damn it, I'm so sorry, but you are going to sleep, my guy. I think I'm looking at a ground and pound TKO by 135 or Brock Lesnar right now.
The Irish 135.
The Irish 135, bro. That's the name. Give me a ground and pound TKO by the 135 or Brock Lesnar himself. Oh yeah. Let's see what we got up next. Whoa, we have Molly McCann. We have the meatball, coming back against Bruna Brasil. I had high hopes for Bruna Brasil. She had that highlight reel kick to the head, the knockout in her Dana White Contender Series fight. I thought she was kind of, I don't know, the cleaner kickboxer coming into this strawweight division to kind of clean things up and kind of move into the rankings. But it's been a rough ride since she's been in the UFC.
She's alternated wins and losses,
and she's kind of had the striking opportunities and opponents, but she just cannot get her striking off. People are doing a really good job of just crowding her distance and just kind of taking away the distance and using their wrestling to get to Bruna Brasil.
And even it seems like even when she has had the chances to fire off, she's not.
She's very stagnant. She's just
very timid. Yeah, she won't, for whatever reason, she's not taking her chances when she's had them, and that's really frustrating watching her fight.
So yeah, it was rough. I put money on her against Denise Gomes, and that did not do well for me. I was so pissed. I was like, "Are you gonna do something? Fight for me, fight for my money. Come on, lady." Just regretted it. So with everything that I said about everything that we talked about with Bruna Brasil and fighters kind of putting the pressure on her, taking away the distance. Molly McCann does that really, really well. And I'm a person who loves to kind of find the fade for Molly McCann. Listen, she's a fun personality. I get it. Her and Patty have some great chemistry, have some great moments in the UFC, which is kind of wild. Her getting the belt and holding it up and walking around the octagon was just insane. I like, what is happening right now? Whose belt is this? Bro, who gave you the belt?
Oh my gosh.
That is a memory of the UFC. I was like, what is happening right now? Not even ranked, which is crazy too.
So that one shocked me.
You just
as I was looking through the rankings, I was like, wait, hold on, not even top 15. Like, what?
She knocked out like Hannah Goldie and just got at someone's belt and just walked around the octagon. I was like, what is happening right now?
Can I tell you? So it's a very like I'm not shy about who I don't like. The list of people, I have 2 people on this card who are on my list of people I enjoy seeing get punched in the face. Now, although I never condone a woman getting punched on any level, if she's gonna get punched in the face, it's gotta be in a professional setting where she's a fighter like this. So in that instance, I love seeing Molly McCann getting punched in the face. I can't stand Molly McCann. I think she's wildly overrated. I think she gets a ton of home cooking. I think they tried to make her into a superstar to like have the same trajectory as Patty almost, and they're attached at the hip. And like you said, they have their moments and all that. I can't stand Molly McCann. I think that the point you bring up is the fight. I think that this is a potentially brilliant matchup because if they can get Bruna Brasil to just pull the trigger, then Molly has that style that's gonna force her, hopefully, to pull the trigger finally. Or Molly's just gonna smother her, and Bruna Brasil is gonna join the fraud list with Molly and her boy and Izzy, who's also on that list of people I like seeing getting punched in the face.
It's like Patty and Molly don't fight unless it's in the UK and they're together on the same card. Like,
I don't know how Patty's wife doesn't look at them like, what's going on here? I hesitantly, I'm not betting. If I were, I'd bet on Molly just because, like with Cobb, until I see you pull that trigger and really like find that contender series, that head kick, like until I see you start pulling the trigger again, I don't believe in it. And I believe Molly will press your space and force you into a dogfight that you're not ready to fire back from. But just like any fight, if she finally decides to fire off,
the great things
could be a great fight.
Exactly. But until I see that, I cannot just take her, Bruna Brasil.
I hate to say it.
I'm taking Molly McCann by knockout here. Yeah. Bruna Brasil has, again, what we said about Patterson. She holds her head, her chin straight up so high. All Molly McCann needs is that overhand right, and it's good night.
That spinning back elbow, her specialty.
I think Brazil needs to have some hate in their heart, or just fight mad. Just fight angry, please. Just do something.
Like, don't fight timid.
Goodness,
fight aggressive.
I know.
Stop being so scary.
I know you got it in you, but come on. But Molly McCann is looking good. Like physically,
I was gonna say weight. Yeah, she's down. She dropped a weight class.
Which is unbelievable. I didn't think she could do it, but she's doing it.
I can't say what I want to say about that. But, we didn't all see Meatball before. I wonder how that's gonna. I wonder how that's gonna work with potential late round issues as far as the gas tank. I wonder how that's gonna work with the power. If the power is going to translate down there, or if it's going to increase, even if she's going to have more pop behind her punches. But yeah, I hate to, but I do. I agree. I think Meatball wins this fight, unfortunately, and I'm going to have to see her act like a total goofball after the fight and act like she won she won the title or something, the way she's going to jump into the crowd or something like that.
So I got Meatball by TKO. What about you?
You know what? TKO does sound about right.
Uppercut in the clinch, maybe, or just overhand right. I don't know.
Something where, yes, the ref stops it because Bruna Brasil is just taking,
just
instead of throwing back.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not even. It might not even be damaging too bad, but it's just a simple like, fight back, fight. I'm gonna stop. All right, that's it. Like and it's just, and then she'll after
calling it early and just making Molly look like, So.
Yeah, I think. I hope that it's the total opposite, but I think we're on the same page with that one.
Okay. Next up is the featured prelim fight. We have Nathaniel Wood against Daniel Pineda. Nathaniel Wood has looked great at his new weight class at 145. He was killing his body trying to make that weight to 135. But besides his last fight against Naimov, and where was that, like Abu Dhabi or something like that? The ref was doing Nathaniel Wood so dirty.
That was the
just fouls all over the place by Naimov. Ref wasn't even stepping in for those. So
that one. Yeah, I remember that. That was
dirty.
Yeah.
I was like, goodness gracious, ref.
Because that loss almost was like everyone was kind of like, don't.
Yeah.
On paper, it's a loss, but if you watch the tape on it, there was a lot that contributed to that being a loss. And that was, I mean, look at his resume before that fight too. Like, that's.
So I don't hold much into that loss. But I think with Daniel Pineda, yes, I didn't even know he was that old, but I thought Daniel Pineda was late 20s, early 30s, but this man is almost 40 years old. He's 38. I think his best days are just behind him. He had a fight against Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy, and Bruce Leroy was working that boy. And beat him in decision too. But yeah, again, Pineda could get reckless. He can brawl, but he's just too reckless, man. I think Nathaniel Wood, just his time to just kind of be a counter striker here, being the more technical fighter here, and just outclassing Daniel Pineda and getting I really want to call a finish here, but I'm gonna go another decision here for Nathaniel Wood. But Pineda is looking like a gatekeeper or a journeyman in the 145 class right now. So
I think I would say as long as Nathaniel Wood, like you said, Pineda can get reckless. I think as long as Nathaniel Wood, I think he has to withhold and withstand like an initial, that first maybe minute 30, 2-minute blitz of Pineda throwing bombs because he's fresh. And as long as Wood can stay out of the way of that and control that, and it's going to be the same thing as much of, like we've said, the rest of this card so far. I think it's just going to be, he just cruises, he outclasses him, and he cruises his way to a safe win in front of the home crowd, 30-27, 30-26, But I think it's going to be an easy win for Wood as long as he can withstand that initial like bum rush from Daniel Pineda. What's going to be fine.
Yeah. So give me Wood by decision here.
And he's the biggest favorite on the card too, for a reason.
And again, Pineda is good. He's dangerous in that first half of the round coming out. So I don't think that. I think Wood's chin is good enough to hold up there. But let's move into the pay-per-view card. To open up the card, we have Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. I think this is kind of a meaningful fight here at 145 to open up the pay-per-view card here. It's crazy to see where Giga is at now. When he came into the UFC, his name was talked about as probably the new him and the 145er, especially with his kicks.
The style,
the Giga kicks was kind of just running through everybody. And then he met his match with Calvin Kattar. Kattar kind of had his way with Giga. It was kind of our first time seeing Giga like a human almost in that fight. But even in Giga's last fight with Alex Caceres, another Bruce Leroy,
common opponent of the fighters on this card.
Yes, Giga just didn't look it wasn't the bounce back performance I wanted to see from a Giga Chikadze coming off his first loss. I just didn't see that spark. I don't know. I know Bruce Leroy can be a funny matchup for some, especially with I think people sleep on Bruce Leroy a lot, but the kickboxing is there from the man. Dude's nasty.
Oh, he's always since the show he's been able to.
Absolutely.
That's what got him through. Yeah, his that unorthodox striking. He's a great striker.
But he held his own in that fight, even though Giga won by decision. I just didn't see that spark. But Arnold Allen on the other hand, dude is yoked. What a yoked guy. But this man is getting his ass beat.
I was gonna say, hey, he yoked, but he back-to-back L's right now too.
Running to Evelev.
Yeah.
It's not like he had moments in the Max fight.
No, but that's the thing.
Max
Max, no one has moments against Max like when Max is on.
He did have a moment against Evelev, but again, Evelev just that dude's kind of nasty, bro. 145 need to watch out for that guy.
True.
But Allen is tough, and he's the type of fighter that will, no matter how the fight is going, he will fight for you if you're a fan of him. He just has this no quit mentality in him, and I think the way to go for Arnold Allen to win this fight is to bring out the wrestling. This man loves to just stand and bang and swing looping hooks. This man needs to start mixing in his wrestling because he can, but he just doesn't do it.
And that again, matchup wise, he's going to be with someone who's just going to want to stand and bang with him. So it's going to come down to what his camp has been telling him.
The IQ is not there for Arnold Allen. This man there's not really it's not really clicking up there when it comes to getting into the octagon and getting the game plan ready. But if you want to play that striking game with Giga will just chop you up, deep kicks, eat up that midsection.
Dude,
my gosh.
He's another one. I remember watching him in the Apex during COVID.
I think it was that Barbosa fight for me that was like, holy shit. I love it. Shout out Edson, man.
Man, one of the Hall of Famer. I don't care what nobody say. That man's a Hall of Famer. Just off of being a video game character, he's a Hall of Famer. Like my favorite 55 to use on UFC ever.
But yeah, Giga will eat you up if Arnold Allen does not use that wrestling. Doesn't just take away the distance from Giga and just kind of overwhelms Giga with grappling, making him fight against the cage. Just make it a grimy fight, I would say.
Jeez. This is a big fight for Chikadze, man.
It is.
This is a big one. Arnold Allen, the back-to-back L's, like that's But
Giga's now like in top 10. I think he's like 10, maybe.
I got you right here. He's number 10. Arnold Allen, even back-to-back L's, he's still number 6.
That's crazy.
In the featherweight division. But also the featherweight division is kind of it's a mess, and Elia does not want to help move that along, being a goofy.
Only fighting in Spain, nowhere else. But
you got Max at 2. Ahead of Arnold Allen, you have Evelov, you have Rodriguez, you have Yair, Ortega, Holloway, and Volk. And then you got Emmett and Aljo and Calvin Cater behind them.
Ooh. Aljo got a big fight coming up too.
He just signed didn't he, like last week or something?
Yeah.
He signed a big fight. Yeah. Aljo, whatever. Aljo.
You know what? I'm gonna take Arnold Allen here by decision. Man, I'm not comfortable with the pick, but I'm hoping this man it clicks in his head that use the wrestling, bro. Just do something other than strike with Giga, please. So yeah, give me Arnold Allen to bounce back into the win column here. Next up, we have Christian Leroy Duncan.
CLD.
That's the only way to say his name.
Leroy Duncan, CLD.
Versus Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. Dope nickname.
Yeah, facts.
So Duncan is nice. He's a clean striker. he gives you a creative striking style too. Strikes come from all different types of angles. Duncan has looked good against average meh competition in my eyes. And on the other hand, with RoboCop Rodriguez, I know people are kind of fading Rodriguez with him being knocked out by Bruna Fajeda a few fights ago. RoboCop got reckless and got caught. And with Fajeda kind of knocking out his latest opponent a few months ago.
Fight that was, man.
I know.
Oh, that was a crazy fight.
Yeah, so dope. I get it, guys. I get what you're saying. Okay. But where am I at? He got a win against Dennis Celulan, which I'm not too crazy about. But it's the fight against Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares is another one of these Hawaiians who it's hard to put away. But I think Brad's chin is kind of going away now in the stage of his career. But again, to finish Brad Tavares, I don't care. It's still kind of impressive to me.
Yeah.
So I think Gregory Rodriguez, he falls in love with the striking and staying on the feet, kind of creating a mess, wild striking. But this man's nasty on the ground. He can get fights to the ground, and he's known as a grappler, but he doesn't really use the grappling in some cases, in some fights. But I think he pulls out the grappling here to use against Leroy Duncan, and I think he just puts the pressure on Leroy Duncan here. And I think we see Leroy Duncan on his back on the ground and him trying to fight his way back up to the feet, which I don't think Leroy Duncan has that. The cardio's okay, but him trying to fight off RoboCop, I think he's going to be fatigued. And I see Rodriguez here kind of capitalizing on that and locking up a submission here on the ground.
I like that.
So I'm taking RoboCop to get a submission here.
The dog too.
That's my second dog. My second dog pick of the card is Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. And I think Rodriguez in general is just a good dog to put money on. He has the power, and when he has to go to it, he will use the grappling. And he's really strong on the ground, especially when he's on top. It's really hard, and I don't think Leroy Duncan has it to get up to his feet and fight off a vet like Gregory Rodriguez. So, yeah. Shall we get into this next fight? One of my favorite fights on this card.
Yes.
We have Bobby King Green versus Patty the Batty Pimblett.
Patty the Batty.
The Batty. Man, oh man. Patty's finally stepping up into fighting ranked opponents. I don't think Tony Ferguson was ranked in his last fight.
Tony Ferguson was also 117 years old. Like, let's be real. That was strictly name.
Just name
recognition.
value.
Yes, name value of a oh yeah, I remember that dude. He used to be nice back in the day. He was also kind of a weirdo, but he could fight. One of the best to never win the belt, too, by the way. As much as I don't like
put him on that top
Tony
10
Ferguson,
list.
man. He was a great fighter, bro.
Man.
But yeah, that fight means not. It means more to me that he didn't showcase more with that, because that was a setup for him to really have like a moment, and he didn't take advantage of that. That Ferguson win.
So Bobby King Green, I feel like he's just all around. Just he's tuned in everywhere, from the striking, the boxing. He will talk to you while his hands are by his waist. But he also has good takedown defense. He also has won fights by submission. So people just think that King Green is just a boxer, but he can also get things done on the ground as well.
He submitted Ferguson.
Exactly.
From an opponent. He
in the third round as well.
Yeah.
Let's see where I'm at. But in that fight with Tony Ferguson, one thing that I didn't like was that man got rocked in the first round by Tony Ferguson. Not a good. It doesn't sit well with me, especially watching tape in his latest fights as well with Bobby Green. I've noticed that his opponents have landed shots on him to where either stunned him or knocked him down to the ground. Again, he's still durable. Yes, he's bounced back from some of those, but like the chin comes into question for me. And with Jared Gordon is not known to be a striker like that, but if Jared Gordon's touching you up, I know you're kind of rolling with the shots here, but I don't know, man. Sometimes it doesn't sit well with me to see you get outclassed or getting rocked or getting knocked down by Tony Ferguson and then Jared Gordon. So Paddy Pimblett on the other hand, I feel like he is getting raised correctly in the UFC. They're giving him favorable fights for him to kind of showcase the skill set, have exciting moments, have exciting finishes. In his last fight against Tony, yes, he didn't almost finish Tony in the first round, but like Mace said, he didn't. Tony stuck around and made it kind of a interesting fight in that third round because Paddy was kind of gassed. And if Paddy didn't get that takedown in the third round, I don't know if Paddy would have won that fight, to be honest with you, because Tony was kind of on, fighting back.
Oh,
strong.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that vividly. I remember that fight for sure.
But
let's be honest, he would have won because
again,
that Jared Gordon decision, like,
yeah.
Come on, he would have won that. Like that Jared Gordon decision was a robbery. So
Paddy has the striking as well. I think they strike differently. But again, like we have talked about twice already, with chin staying up in the air, Paddy does not move his head. He is willing to take shots. He will take shots and give shots back. But I just don't know how long he could do this for, especially with fighting someone with the power of Bobby Green. But Paddy also has an underrated jiu-jitsu game and submission game as well, which doesn't get, I think it gets overlooked a bit, but he does have it. He has some really sick kind of jump triangles and Cage Warrior. It's tough, man. It is tough. This fight is probably the toughest fight for me to call on this card. Drew's not going to like what I have to say, but I'm going Paddy Pimblett to win by submission here. I think Paddy has enough striking to kind of find the back of Bobby Green if he can close the distance enough to get this fight against the cage and kind of take the back and kind of find a strangle here. But again, I'm not too. I worry about Green's chin because he has been knocked or rocked or dazed and knocked down in his past fights, mostly all of them. And that brutal knockout with Jalen Turner. Oh my!
Yeah.
I don't. It kind of worries me a little bit. I don't think I'm not comfortable picking Paddy here. I'm totally fine with people picking Bobby Green here, and I don't even blame you. But I just like where Paddy's going, the ceiling of Paddy, the growth of Paddy. Yeah, I'm gonna go Paddy here by submission.
Does it worry you at all? Have you heard Paddy's been talking about not even fighting? He's been talking about this might be his last fight.
Whoa.
He has other, because he has other fighting. Like he has such a following. I guess there's boxing on the table for him over in the UK and such. And they love boxing over in the UK. There's that potential focus shift. But also on the flip side of that, Paddy just had twins. And I've listened to a lot of fighters reference that in the lead up to this, because they say that when you do become a parent, it makes you different. Like it makes you fight different because you're fighting for something way more. I think that this is the second fight of the night that both fighters have a very clear path of how they're gonna win. Their best route to victory. Just like with Manel Kopp, I think King Green, I think that's his way. I think he's got to piece up Patty. I think he's got to be, and granted, again, Ferguson was 117 when he fought Patty. Jim Miller was 407 years old when King Green just bulldozed him,
worked that man,
destroyed him. But we were at the weigh-ins the day before. He looked different. He sounded different. He seemed more focused. He seemed like something was different in him. He's getting to the end of his road. That man, this is going to be his 48th or 49th professional fight. Like, he's knocking on 40. He's got miles. The Turner knockout was scary. Before that, he had won, I believe, 3 in a row. He's won 4 out of 5. He's fought a who's who at 55. I think this is a gigantic step up for Patty. I think Patty has to get it to the ground. You referenced his jiu-jitsu, wildly underrated jiu-jitsu, a decent enough wrestler. And Bobby Green was 2-time All-State wrestler, like in high school. He has skills, but Patty has to get it to the ground. He can't get caught up in, this is going to be a fight IQ fight too, for sure, because Patty can't get caught up in trying to strike and trying to show out for the home crowd or anything like that with Bobby Green, because
you can't match strike for strike with Bobby.
That's
if
what
you want to go
like,
strike for strike with him, you're gonna get just outclassed.
You're playing with fire, man.
And then he's talking to you while he's hitting you and just kind of demoralizing.
And that's the game. Like, that's what he would love for Patty to come out and be like, yeah, I'm gonna put on a show for the home crowd. Let's do this. Like, Bobby Green's waiting for that. If the fight IQ is there, if they were smart in this camp, take him down, use the striking to take him down, close that gap as quick as you can so that, like you said with Kopp earlier, he can't catch you on anything coming in, and take him to the ground and get slick on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, get slick on the ground. That's your route to victory. I think if Patty can survive an early onslaught, like the Pineda fight, if Patty can survive an early onslaught and just kind of work the takedowns, work the jiu-jitsu, keep throwing stuff up or down at Bobby Green, and I think that's his way to victory. Eventually he slips something through.
And that's the thing too, because Patty was fading hard in that Ferguson fight in the 3rd round. I know he's looking in better shape, but I still don't think that cardio's there. So Green could capitalize on a 3rd round kind of finish here. I'd love to look at the live action at that. But I think Pimblett, his counter striking has to be at the best on Saturday. I think it's best for Bobby to come forward and let Bobby come forward, and Patty just kind of counter strike on Bobby. And you better hope one of those punches from Patty kind of lands to kind of gain that respect. Because if you're not landing on Bobby and Bobby's eating your best punch, it's going to be a long night for you. So I think Patty has become a good counter striker on Saturday, and just hopefully find the clinch and work the clinch as best he can to get to the back. So
I'm with you though. I think that.
Oh, really?
I do. I think that his way, I think he will execute his route to victory better than Bobby Green will. Again, if he can survive that early onslaught and not get dropped or rocked or anything like that. Now, if he gets dropped and if it's like an overwhelming round, first round for Bobby Green, then we got something to talk about the rest of the way. Just from a catching up on the scorecard standpoint and how that could get. We all know how the judging's been in 2024. It's been kind of weird. But if he can survive that and not take too much damage and fire, like you said, be a counter fighter, be a counter striker, late round takedown type of stuff, I think ultimately it's either a decision for Patty or he'll find a submission late in this fight. And yeah, yeah, if you'd told me walking in to record this today that I'd be on wax picking this
that's why I'm shocked.
Goofy ass duo of Patty and Frigate. But to go back to what you started with though, I think if he stays the course in MMA, I think that the way that they are building him up though is brilliant. And they haven't always handled young prospects great, especially in a fun division like 55. Like 55 is, I mean,
it's hard to build up in this division here.
Come on.
The top 20-25 is, it's
Look
killers.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, this is, like you said, like we talked about with Molly earlier. Like, oh, wow, it's weird that she doesn't have a number. Patty don't have a number. This is his number fight right here. Because King Green is 15th. And look, like Dos Anjos, Jalen Turner.
Oh, my God.
BSD fraud. Dan Hooker. Moicano.
Oh, my God.
Max is in the top 10 at 55. Fizev, Benel, Benny, Michael Chandler. We don't know what he's doing. Gamrot, Poirier, fraud, Gaethje, Oliveira, and of course Armin and Islam. And that's not even throwing Connor in there because he's a wild card and all of that too. Like, so it's gonna be a slow climb for Patty, and I think that's great. And I think that the way they're handling him has been top notch so far. Like, and you can't always say that about the way UFC handles young talent.
I think we need to see the evolution. How we kind of said about Parkin, Mick Parkin earlier. We need to see this be the cleanest, probably best version of Patty Pimblett on Saturday to kind of see that he's growing, and because it doesn't get any easier from here with the list that he just.
That top 15 is crazy.
Insane. That's insane.
That's a murderer's row, and that's what you're looking up at.
Even like an older RDA is still fucking tough, bro. Like it's tough. Is RDA there?
Like, oh yeah. RDA is right there. Like
tough,
Dan
bro.
Hooker at 11 is gonna give you a tough fight. Like what? It's crazy. Even a BSD, you get in there with a striker like that, even though he's a fraud.
Someone's gonna just heart just go after it. So we have to see.
We'll see how serious he's taking this on Saturday for sure. That's for sure.
So Patty Pimblett is my third underdog pick of this card.
And yeah, honestly, great value. Let's be real.
Exactly.
I thought for sure that King Green was going to be the dog coming out and there's going to be great value because that would have totally should have been like, yo, money on King. Patty's the dog there. Like that's. I like that as a live dog.
Yeah. Next up, we have the co-main event. We have Tom Aspinall defending his interim belt versus Curtis Blades. This is a rematch. This fight went down a few years ago. That's where Tom Aspinall threw the kick and it broke his leg or something like that.
15 seconds.
What a terrible night to end off that night and that card. How that first fight ended up playing out. I think besides John Jones, this is Tom Aspinall's toughest fight. I think Curtis Blades is just the overall package, and he seems to be getting better, tightening up those tools, his skills, sharpening his skills. I mean, he came in as a wrestler, and he's always kind of had that wrestler tag to his name, but the striking has matched with the wrestling now. And the few strikes that he did let go in that first fight, they look fast and they look clean. I thought he was going to catch Tom with a straight in that first fight before the injury. But with the change and this kind of evolution and just kind of I think Blade's hitting his ceiling, his peak right now. I think Tom is still peaking, and he looks slimmer. He looks fantastic since his injury. I feel like he's moving faster. The hands are faster. I hope to see more of the wrestling display from his skill set in this fight. Because if he can wrestle with or even win some scrambles on the ground with a Curtis Blades, oh man, this just makes John Jones' fight look even tastier. Even though I don't think that happens, but just the thought of it, I just think Tom is that guy right now. No disrespect to Curtis Blades. Even though I don't think, I feel like this is a little bit wide, to be honest with you, with the line, but
the line is crazy.
Yeah,
that's shocking to me that it's that
wide.
That's that wide. It's almost a 4-1 favorite. Aspinall. That's crazy to me.
I'm saying this is again. I think this is one of the toughest fights in that division for Tom Aspinall, and if he could pass this with flying colors, oh my goodness! If it's not John Jones, Alex Pineda, you better start gaining some weight because I think you got your next, super fight.
Super fight, yeah.
But yeah, give me Tom by knockout.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
The main thing I've heard leading into this fight is exactly what you've mentioned a couple of times already. And Aspinall has said it himself. I was listening to an interview with him earlier. All the analysts have said it. Aspinall said it himself. Curtis Blades is my toughest opponent at heavyweight. He's the most well-rounded. He is my most difficult opponent that I've faced so far. Fun fact, this was supposed to be Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane turned it down.
Oh.
Because he wanted to go act, apparently. Aspinall in the interview, too, sounded very salty about that. Like, he actually wanted it to be Cyril Gane. He wanted Jones. He said he wanted Jones when he realized it wasn't going to be Jones. He wanted Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane turned it down, and then he said, well, I want Blades because Blades is my only loss.
I like that.
And, I mean, let's be honest, too. This isn't really a rematch. It's 15 seconds.
Yeah.
We don't know what the main event is more of a rematch to me than this one is. Absolutely. Because we got a bigger sample size. From all we got from this one was it looked like Blades was going to be aggressive and push forward to me. Looked like he was going to kind of push the pace and pressure Tom, whether that was via striking or whether it was using the striking for the double leg, because that's the cool thing about Blades is wrestling. And so the reason I like Blades and the reason why I like the one of the main event fighters too is because it's Blades fights kind of old school.
Oh yeah,
MMA. When I was coming up watching MMA, I like wrestlers. I like wrestlers who come in and they use it and they get in on you. Like I know people think it's boring as hell, and sometimes it is, but stop it too. At the same time, like no one's talking about like, oh, GSP. GSP was the most boring fighter you ever watched in your life.
Absolutely.
So boring. Like they use that Matt Hughes head kick because it's the only exciting thing he ever did in his fighting career. Like he was so boring to watch and you knew what you were getting. I like the way that Curtis Blades wrestles.
It's
interesting thing about the way that about his wrestling though. Curtis Blades hasn't had a takedown in 3 years.
And again,
those hands since he switched camps,
yeah, man, he's working on that boxing.
Those hands have gone crazy, and now he just uses his striking. He got taken down 9 times against Jailton Almeida, which is a record. 9 times he got taken down in that fight. So I think Tom can win it anywhere. I'm curious if Tom is going to look at that Almeida fight and say, well, I just don't need to get caught with elbows on the side of my head on the entrance on a stuff. Because that's what ultimately did Almeida in.
Right.
Was a stuff, and then he caught him with those elbows. I think if I'm Aspinall, I want to keep it standing. Because I think there's a clear advantage on the feet. And his striking is so, like, for being a monster, that dude's striking is versatile as hell for being as big as he is.
He moves so fast.
Dude,
like a
it's
205,
crazy.
bro.
he didn't even hit Pavlovich either with like his biggest shots. He just pieced him, and it was like, whoa.
So that's what I'm saying here is Curtis Blades' only losses are to powerful strikers. It's Pavlovich, Ngannou, Lewis. Now, Tom Aspinall did knock out Pavlovich. I get that, but I think it's the accuracy of the boxing and the hands. It may not be the power. It's just where Tom Aspinall lands with his punches.
Placement,
The placement. I think this man has one of the nicest hands. Heavyweight, yes, but maybe in all of UFC. Give me Tom. I think Tom's hands are just too nice.
I think I want Blaze to win. Full disclosure, I've loved Tom since he debuted, and I think he's the future of heavyweight. I don't know why. I love Blaze' story. I love the stutter, all of that. I'm rooting for him, but no, I think Tom wins. I think you set up Tom and Alex next. I think if you're the UFC, you stumble into a gold mine if Blades wins, because then you can just fast track Alex up there to be like, no, come on, save heavyweight now. Let's go. Nope, because we can't have Blades as our champ, even if he wins in like devastating fashion. Nope. Get Alex up here. But no, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think Tom wins. I think he wins probably. I think if you're going a rounds bet, I think over like 2.5. But I think he knocks him out. Or TKO, one or the other. I think it's a finish though.
Yeah.
I think it's a stoppage.
Same here. But Tom Aspinall, if he does win,
dude, John's gotta quit bullshit.
You gotta pop out, bro.
John, you gotta stop this.
John, you gotta pop out, bro.
I'm
getting tired of your Twitter antics.
He's starting to turn real Drakey on Twitter, man. It's getting goofy, man. I don't like that. Tom did say in the interview I listened to earlier about him that he has something ready for after the fight, for the post-fight interview, that he's ready to call out John Jones because that's the fight that he wants the most. So John better be ready. Like, he's probably not going to be, but he can't be there. He won't be there. It's in the morning. He's not staying like but yeah, if Tom wins, he's going to call out John, and you have, like, Dana's been caping up for John so tough lately too, with all this pound for pound talk.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of weird.
Oh yeah, people are asking him,
dude. He's getting pissed at that talk, man. He's going on.
What do you want me to say?
He's going on podcasts talking about it. Like, so you have to make that fight then. Like, if John Jones is your boy now, like, you gotta make that fight. Unless you're scared.
MSG in November. I need Aspinall and
unless you scared, the aura might because guess what? Aspinall could be Chris Weidman. He can end it all just like Weidman did with Silva, man. All the aura went away. He could do that with Jones. Dana might not want that.
Dana's gonna cry.
He's gonna cry in the car.
He's not even gonna put that the belt around Aspinall properly. He's gonna
take it. Put it over your shoulder.
Man, here we go. Main event time. We have Leon Edwards defending his belt against Belal. Remember the name. Muhammad. Listen, guys, I haven't been the biggest fan of Belal, okay? But after watching the UFC countdown for this card, I love what I'm hearing. I love what I'm seeing. Him taking in a family from the whole from Gaza and stuff like that, and taking care of them. I love that stuff, bro. But since that eye poke in their first matchup, Belal has been ripping through the whole damn division, my guys. It gives me Kamaru Usman before he fought for the belt. Tyrone Woodley.
Wow.
Like, the way he's ripping through everybody. Yeah, it's decisions, but he's dominating everybody.
I mean, he knocked out Sean. He got Sean Brady up out of there.
I can't believe Sean Brady let that man knock him out.
He got Sean Brady up out of there.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, the growth and the hands are coming along. Again, it's not the most beautiful striking you've ever seen, but the striking and the hands are coming along for Belal Muhammad. But man, I'm so high. I'm so high on the skill set of Leon. He's a very pretty striker, and I say that with just technique wise, and
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Very crisp, very, very technical, very sharp. Yes.
But I think Belal is he's a very difficult style matchup for the champ here. This might be not Leon's toughest test, but he still got shot. But Belal is serious, and if Leon doesn't bring his A game, he's losing that belt. But I've seen the takedown defense. I've seen just the distance control. And you really can't go off the first fight because they have grown so much, both of these fighters since
Very
then.
good point. Yes.
So it's hard to kind of gauge, but I'm just going off just the overall skill set of the fighters. And I think Leon has enough to just kind of make this his own fight. So I'm going to go Leon by kind of a boring fight, decision win here. I think he pulls out a 48-47 type fight. I think it's tight. I think it's a very close fight.
What if? All right. So since the first fight, right? Leon has fought Nate Diaz,
which he almost got rocked.
Come on.
Rocked in the 5th round.
Nate was talking to him in the 5th. Okay. Yeah, come on. Okay. So he fought Nate Diaz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could have lost. Marty Fake Newsman for the belt. We all know how that one ended. Dad which is one of the dopest things you ever see in sports. MMA period, but sports period, like a dad in the corner, like, hey, you gotta go out and knock it. And then he goes out and just the most beautiful head kick you ever see. But what was happening before that?
He was getting his ass kicked.
He needed it. He doesn't land that head kick. We're not even talking about this fight right now.
Nope.
So those are the two fights, right? Then he fights Marty Fake Newsman again.
Okay.
Yo.
Okay.
That decision?
People are.
Oh my god!
I know people are saying that.
Oh,
Leon clearly won that fight.
If he clearly won that fight, I wouldn't have been in the hotel room I were in.
You guys
watching the fight illegally on my phone, sweating because I bet so much on Leon. I thought he was going to lose that decision.
You guys need to watch that fight again. It was so close. Rightfully so. This decision was called, but yeah, it was really, really close.
So after he beats Marty Fake Newsman twice, after maybe losing to him twice, except for a head kick, then he fights Colby. Can we agree that's not prime Colby? That's not the same Colby you're used to seeing.
Let me see the scorecards.
Like that was a different Colby.
It was. And I think Colby's coming up on this predictable fighting style to where people just haven't figured out already. And Colby's beating non-ranked fighters who kind of have a name.
Colby is relevant because of being a good promo guy at this point in his career. Yeah. Let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. Leon was his last chance at relevance going forward as a contender. He lost because he's not the same Colby anymore. And he's had his chances and he's had a great career. And it's been a weird career in all honesty, like the whole heel turn and all that he's done. But he's a talented fighter, but he wasn't the same.
Colby won a round too. He won a round in that fight.
Yeah, he got a round off of Leon. Man,
you're making me think again.
That's it. That's why I'm here. And I'm not, it's not even, look, I think that no one has surprised me more in the evolution of their game over the past couple years than Leon Edwards has. I thought Leon was strictly a striker, kickboxer. I thought that was his only way to victory. I thought Usman was just going to run through him wrestling-wise and take him down left and right. I thought that was Colby's way to victory. Colby had 8 takedowns stuffed in that fight. And Leon had 2 takedowns off of him in that fight. Belal's different, obviously. Belal's been training with Habib
again.
And them. Yeah, like so the
chain wrestling from Belal. What he did to Steve Wonderboy, like
The unorthodox striking. I'm curious to see the first few takedown attempts from Belal and how they work out. If he can get Leon down quick, it's forget about it.
And again,
forget about it. He's gonna do the Dagestani Maul, which he should, which is old school.
Exactly.
And that's why I like Belal. I love Belal because Belal fights so old school. And he's a personality, and he's tired of the shit with the UFC. Like he finally has it. This is why too. I think the stakes are so freaking high for Belal.
And he understands. He understands.
This is it, bro.
He understands.
Because my G, if you lose, you're never you're John Fitch, you're Josh Koscheck, you're all those 70ers from back 15, 20 years ago who all got their shot and popped their shit, and you got it, and you shit the bed.
Yep.
I think like you just said, I think he's very aware of that. I think he's a star and no one knows it yet.
He's funny.
I think he has a fun style. He's obviously got a fun personality. He's a clown. I don't fully understand why this is such like a personal thing between them, other than the way the first fight ended.
The eye poke and Leon, I think, trash talking and saying this and that, and then he's like, "Oh, stop running, boy!" Like,
well, I guess whatever Belal has to use to motivate himself, fine. But I think, like you said, just knowing this is your moment, and this is, bro, again, you mess this up, and it's a wrap. You are, bro, you're right there. You know who you're fighting in front of? You're fighting right before Cop and freaking Mokaev fight on the early prelims, because Dana will not be able to wait to throw you down there if you lose this fight.
And something with Leon that we've seen, especially with that first fight with Usman, or not the second fight where he got the belt, is it's a mental game, and it's a mental game with everybody, right? But that man was so down in the dumps.
His pops had to give him a pep talk on the
greatest pep talk to get him to throw that kick finally.
And he was just looking like he looked defeated already.
It's almost like a Rose Namajunas. Like if Rose is not a game for 25 minutes mentally, she's gonna lose. I think
just gonna be listening to Pat Barry yell at you for a minute between every round the whole time. Like,
so I think there's a big mental block here.
Big time. That's
with Leon Edwards, that he needs to stay on his mental A game for 25 minutes. If he sleeps up once, Belal just has that style to where, again, if he gets it to the ground, I don't think Leon is gonna get up. Man, this conversation has kind of swayed me a little bit.
Because I'm calling I'll call mine right now. I'll give you a minute. And new.
Oh,
I think Belal does it, man. I think Belal recognizes the moment. I think that Leon, his recent resume, and I think his title reign as a whole might be a little bit inflated. And it might be built up on kind of past their prime names. I think that Belal is hungry. I think Belal can. I think what Leon is. I think what's best in this fight out of everyone's skill set is Belal's takedowns, inching out Leon's striking. And then probably Leon's takedown defense is number 3 in that. But I think that Belal has the most important weapon here. And if he follows the game plan, use the unorthodox striking, get in, close the distance, get your takedowns, Dagestani maul him to death, get your 5-round win, let him boo you. Who cares? He's going to talk so crazy after the fight too. Leon has already opened. There's already been open talk of Islam moving up and fighting Leon and stuff. That's where Leon's at right now. And now with the future calling out Shavkat to fight in December, which I think is a terrible idea. I think if you're Dana and Sean Shelby at 170, you keep both of them undefeated as long as you can, and you build them to be the future of 170 so that when they do fight, it's for the belt. But that's just me. Because 70 kind of sucks. It's old. That's what 70 is musty.
And that's
why it's a musty division.
And I'm kind of getting off track here, but that's kind of what I liked about Kamaru Usman. Not so much the fighter, but just so much he was the inactive champion and kind of keeping things moving. Even though he rematched a few people, like there was still some movement going on.
He did rematch a lot, but it was like you said, it was active.
Yeah,
he wasn't taking long spells
and
off.
People were he was fighting rightfully so. You know, people who kind of deserved it a little bit, or there were storylines there. So
there was enough to. That's the thing. That's how long 70 has been boring. Is Woodley had a great reign, an underrated reign because people didn't like him. Usman, same thing. People don't like him. He's also on the list of people I like seeing getting punched or kicked in the face. Marty Fake Newsman. But also while he was cleaning out the division, that's when all this newer talent came along. The Belals of the world, the Future, the Shavkats, even Jack Della. Jack Della's name at 170. You got
I love me from Jack Della.
Jack Della at 172. So like I feel like we might be at like a kind of shifting at 170 where we're going to move on, and then it's going to be like, all right, all the people who used to have names at 70, the Covingtons, the Usmans, the Edwards is going to fall into that. I feel like it's over now. Now it's time. Maybe the 70 belt moves around a little bit now, but I think that there are potential for fun, even old versus new talent fights at 170 that we need to start clearing out some of the old guard.
I need that 70. I need that Ian Gary versus Colby real quick. I need Ian Gary to knock this block off Colby real quick. I need to see it. You know what, bro? You have great points. I'm gonna stand the champ though. I'm gonna stand. I
like it.
I'm gonna stand on my.
I like it. How's the champ winning? How you got it?
A boring decision.
Okay.
48-47, a close fight.
Okay.
I think the exchanges on the ground are get interesting down there. But if this fight goes to the ground, I think Belal racks up control time. That plays into him winning some rounds.
Has to be active from the bottom, like when he's on top too. Like can't just lay on him. Got to be active on top.
Yeah. So give me 48-47. The champ barely wins this fight.
All right. Oh, we're gonna have fun on Saturday, bro. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for this. Oh, you poor British fans. Oh,
3 a.m.
I feel for you. Oh, I feel for you. But man, we're gonna be right here at 7, just big chilling, eating with a drink in the hand,
eating dinner at a proper time,
talking crazy at the screen, like.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go down all my picks. So from the top to bottom, from main event to the early prelims, I got Leon Edwards. I have Tom Aspinall. I have Paddy Pimblett, underdog number 1. I have Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop, underdog number 2. I have Arnold Allen. I have Nathaniel Wood. I have Molly Meatball McCann. I have Kyle Loughran. I have Modestas Bukauskas. I have Oban Elliott, underdog number 3. I have Muhammad Mokaev, Sam Patterson, Mick Parkin, and Elise Ardelean.
Who, by the time that it comes out, will probably be dog number 4, you'd imagine.
I would be surprised if she's not an underdog.
Yeah. So, I mean, that'll be even more juice on another dog.
Yeah. So, hopefully you guys enjoy this breakdown of UFC 304 going down on Saturday. Let us know your picks in the comment section. I will have some timestamps for this video. So if you guys have or any interest in a significant fight, or you guys can just go to that. So check the description box below to go find the fight that you guys want to hear from us. But I appreciate all the support. Like the video, and let's be interactive in the comment section if you guys want to. Let's keep it peaceful, okay? So some of these MMA fans could just be a little bit outrageous.
You Sean Strickland fans, man. We said we like him, okay?
Hey, you knew MMA fans kind of get annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
That's a whole other podcast, man.
That would be on an off week. We talk about that. But thank you guys again, and